Hello everybody, welcome back to another cigar review. It's currently for me Tuesday night, so this is a video you're going to see on Thursday. I went to my humidor and I was a bit stuck as to what to pick. I've not got much selection right now, but even just amongst a couple of cigars, it's hard to decide what you want. And for me, I always try and pick my cigars based on occasion, based on how I'm feeling at the time, how my day has gone, and what I want to cap the day off with. Now what that means is that if I've not had the best of days, or if I've just had an okay day, I tend to pick something on the lower end of the cigar spectrum. Ooh, my apologies. Something that's going to be a nice smoke, but I'm not picking up a 25, 30 pound cigar. If I've had a very good day, I'm in a very good mood, then I'll go and pick up a more expensive cigar. And especially if I'm going out and I'm smoking out with people, I will try and have a very nice, higher quality cigar then, because I think if I'm smoking with friends, with people I respect, then I want to be smoking something with them that I really enjoy. Now today's just been an okay day, very standard day. I've done very little today. I've actually been quite unproductive, unfortunately. But we have those days. We have lazy days sometimes. You know, everyone has them. You know, it's my day off from work, and I thought I always have a cigar on a Tuesday. And I'm not going to stop now. So I went to my humidor. I had a Placencia. My apologies there. There's definitely going to be a cut there because my phone just fell off the stand. Which kind of funny. Not good. Kind of funny. So, as I was saying, I had a Placencia I was looking at. I've got a Paul Larrañaga, but I try and have my I release my Cuban videos on the Tuesday, so they're normally my Cuban cigar. I try and leave a Cuban cigar for my Tuesday smoke at the moment, just the way my Saturday smokes on my Tuesday video. So my New World smoke for today is an Arturo Fuente. Now you'll be thinking, well, that's quite nice. That's quite a good brand. They're quite expensive, those Fuentes. You would be correct in 99% of cases. This time, you're not, because I've got, I believe, the cheapest Fuente on the market. This here is the Arturo Fuente Brevas Royale. It is a Corona. It is a 5.5 by 42. And it cost me the very cheap price of £10.19. Now that's not super cheap for a Corona, and especially not cheap for a short filler cigar. That is right. This here, £10.19 is New World short and medium. They say medium filler. Whatever medium filler is, I guess like half leaves, I suppose. But these are offcuts of other Fuente tobacco put into a very shoddy, this might be the worst wrapper I have ever seen. And I'm always going to be honest in reviews. If a cigar is bad, a cigar is bad. The wrapper on this cigar, like, I'm going to put it up to the camera. There are spots, little sunspots all over the wrapper. It's like, there's like a little, the foot of the cigar doesn't look great. Like there's like little crack here. The cap does not look very good. I mean, you're not going to see, it's not focusing, really. See if I can just put it up so you can see the band properly. You might not be able to. It's not a very nice looking wrapper. Now I'm not going to let myself detract from the smoke, but in terms of experience, and that's what we're doing when we're smoking cigars, we're experiencing everything from the flavour through to the you know, the wrapper, how it looks, how it's packaged. Even the band is kind of like, look at the band, it's kind of printed off center. You see that, like how it's. Now these are the cheapest line from Fuente. With that said, for 55p more, you can get the Gran Reserva Petit Corona, which is a long for the cigar. It's a 5x38. And then for a couple more pounds, you can pick up a short story from the Hemingway line. You know, and then if you go up a little bit more, you could pick up, you know, a Don Carlos 4 or a Fina 858 and other sizes. So this cigar has to be one of the best short fillers I've ever smoked for it to be worth that money. So there's a lot going on to this cigar, because if this cigar isn't better than... I've just reviewed a Jose El Piedra Petit Caballeros. That's a £12.50 cigar, but it's Cuban. It's slightly shorter than this, but it's a much thicker ring gauge. It's a 48. That was quite a nice smoke. I gave it a 7 because it's a Cuban cigar, and Cuban cigar prices compared to New World prices are different. So we're going to light this up now. I'm going to cut it and light it up. I'm going to give it the best chance. So I've got little ship matches, because I don't have any long matches at the moment. We're going to cut it. Got my cutter. We're going to try and give this thing the best chance possible. A fine cut. No, nothing wrong with the cut. What's the draw like? Yeah. Completely fine draw. Basically smells of nothing. Now, Fuente are Dominican. They're a Dominican brand. So, you know, I like a Dominican cigar. I think Dominican cigars are quite nice. But I'm worried about this cigar. I'm worried because it's quite expensive. And I like Fuente cigars, but I've had some bad Fuente cigars in the past. So we'll see. We'll see. For pairings, right now, and this might change by the end, I'm currently drinking an Iron Brew 1901, which is apparently different to normal Iron Brew. It's got sugar in it. I think it's the main difference. I think normal Iron Brew doesn't have as much sugar in. Just tastes quite sweet. So we're going to get this Fuente lit. I'm hoping for really good flavour. And I'll talk a little bit about Fuente as a company after it's lit, after I give my initial thoughts. With matches, you want to let the sulphur burn off. And we're just going to use the top of the flame to toast the foot. I've got 6 matches out here, because that's somebody it's probably going to need. So you can see it's all black, which is good. We're going to get no 2 matches. We're going to start rotating and puffing. Look, once the sulphur's burned off. Okay. Cigar's lit. With matches, I find I tend to give the cigar the best chance of giving me its full flavour. I don't know, I find a little bit extra flavour with matches. I don't use them all the time because they're a bit tedious, but well, let's give it a first puff. I'll let you know. Time wise, it's currently 9:45, right? At light, 9:45. Again, short filler, but it's a Corona. I'm hoping for 45 minutes at least. An hour would be good. An hour would make me think, okay, we're getting decent value here. 45 minutes, putting me at half past 10 would be great. But let's give it a puff. Okay, straight off the bat, some nice initial flavour. Let's give it another puff and I'll give you some exacts. Nice grassy note. Nice creaminess. The smoke's quite creamy, which I really like. There's a nice creaminess, kind of like a butteriness as well to the cigar. Kind of a creamy butteriness. A nice mild wood. A nice kind of light grassiness almost. Quite mild, but nice and sweet. There's a nice sweetness there. Again, nice creamy buttery smoke. A nice, as I said, lightness to the cigar. Mild, definitely mild. Maybe not the cigar you want at the end of a night. Obviously it uses a Connecticut shade wrapper, I do believe. It doesn't say anywhere online, it just says, like even if I go on to, I think it's a, it doesn't say. It really doesn't say. Like anywhere online. It says Cameroon wrapper, so it uses a Cameroon wrapper on it. This is the natural. So it's a light Cameroon wrapper. Yeah. It's nice. I'm not going to take anything away from it right now. It's nice. It's a smooth smoke. It's a creamy smoke. I am hoping, I'm really hoping this is not all there is to it though. If all it is light wood, creamy smoke, and that's it, this is going to be a boring cigar and not worth your price. When you can get creamy, mild smoke a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. Again, time as well will be important with this cigar. Right now, to be honest, I'm comparing it in my head to Villager number 7, which is a slightly woody, creamy smoke that costs £4 a cigar. So we'll see. I've got hopes that it's going to improve. Now, as for Fuente as a company, they're based in the Dominican Republic. The Fuente family has lots and lots and lots of cigars. You know, in America, these things are $3 a piece. I think that's completely fine. The company is... I've had a few of their cigars. I think they make interesting cigars in the Dominican Republic. They tend to have nice bands. Construction and quality the quality of the construction tends to be pretty good on Fuentes, which is why I'm really surprised about the wrapper. I'd think even on a low budget cigar, they take care of the wrapper and the band, and they haven't here. Maybe to really say this is our cheap brand. But I would have thought maybe they would have put a little bit more effort in. I don't know. We'll see as the cigar picks up. I'll see what it says. Because if this doesn't deliver, I'll be very disappointed in Fuente. Anyway, enough of me being disappointed with the cigar. I'll come back when we're past the first third. I'll give you a time update. I'll let you know how things are going. And I will see you in a second. See you then. So we're down well into the second third now. And I will say, the cigar has picked up a little bit. There's been a little bit of change, which I'm happy to say. Very little. There's been an element of spice introduced. Very light, very subtle, very nuanced spice. On a normal puff like that, it's not there. What you do get, that nice creamy smoke, and the woodiness has picked up a little bit. It's still quite sweet. There is a nice sweet cedar, a nice creaminess. That spice, you can't really taste it on a normal puff, but when you retrohale the cigar, which everyone should be doing, if you don't know what retrohaling is, quick one. You bring the smoke into your mouth, and then instead of blowing it straight out, You push the smoke up through your sinuses and out your nose. Like that. You blow some smoke out first, because if you did it all, it would hurt your nose. Especially with a stronger cigar. With this, I could probably retrohale the whole smoke. I don't want to. Because it will burn slightly, but not a lot. That spice comes there. And it's a nice, kind of light, white pepper type spice. That said, the cigar is still quite basic. And it has been smoking now for 25 minutes. We're currently at 10 past 10. So we still need at least another 20 minutes. Which I think we'll definitely get at least another 20 minutes out of this. Will we get 40 minutes out of this, 35 minutes out of this? I don't see it. And for me, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. For the price you're paying, £10.20 for this cigar, for it to last 45 minutes perhaps, 45 minutes, and to have such simple flavours. And I'll say the construction has been perfect. It has had no issues with the burn, no issues with the draw. It's been actually, as you can see, a completely perfect burn the entire way around. It is, for me, disappointing on multiple accounts. Because as well, you look at the price, £10.20, and you have to have a look, and I'll do this with every cigar I smoke. What cigars are at that price? Less as well, but at that price. For the same price that I can pay to buy this, you know, I can get a Zeno half Corona. Now that's a 4x40, I believe. A 4x44. That would last just as long as this, in my opinion. It's long filler. And it has that same kind of mild flavour profile, but I think it's actually better. You can get Regis Siri Limitada, the Peruvian Regis cigar. Again, a slightly shorter cigar. I believe it's 4.5 by 40, 4 by 40. You can get Jose El Piedra Brevas at $10.70. And for a little bit cheaper, you get the Jose El Piedra Petit Cetros. You can buy numerous own brand long filler ranges that I recommend. And talking about short filler, you can get Quorum cigars, Quorum Maduros especially, which I think are a really good value smoke, cheaper than this. You can get the Quorum Robusto and the Corona cheaper than this Brevas. Is that saying this is a bad cigar? No. Its flavour is nice. And I'm not one to sit and attack Connecticut cigars. I like a Connecticut cigar. And it's not a time of day thing. I'm smoking this at night. You know, maybe if I had it in the morning, I'd enjoy it more. I just think for the price you pay, the value isn't there. For the UK, £10.20 for one cigar, for most people, for most working people like myself, is a lot of money. And, you know, I'm buying cigars that are more expensive than that are 15, 20, 25, 30 pounds in some cases. But I'm also buying cigars cheaper than that. And a lot of cigars I buy are priced between the £8 and £15 mark. Because for me, that's where I can find the best value. You know, if I'm buying short filler cigars, which this is, and I'm trying not to buy as many short fillers. I'm trying to buy more quality and smoke less. But even if I did want to go and buy a short filler cigar, maybe for a day like today, or maybe if I'm gonna pick one up before I just go for a quick smoke out at the pub, I'm gonna pick up a Quorum Maduro, or I'm gonna pick up a Conquistador, or I'm gonna pick up, you know, maybe a slightly shorter cigar that's just better quality. You know, I mean, for goodness sakes, the J. Cortez Honduran, the orange tube, that's a 5 1/8, I believe, by 38. So and it smokes about the same time as this. And for me, that's got better flavour. You are paying 100% for the brand. You know, you are 100% paying for the brand. Because if this was a long filler cigar, you know, if they released a long filler Gran Reserva Corona, which they don't, there is no, in the UK, there is not a Arturo Fuente Gran Reserva Corona. I'm almost certain of it. Gran Reserva Corona. Fuente. There's the Petit Corona, and there is, in America, they have Corona size cigars. The Arturo Fuente Gran Reserva Cuban Corona Natural. Yeah, that's a 5.5 by 45 Gran Reserva Corona. It's they have a box left on this American website. In America, they have them. Right? That box, by the way, is $153 for 25. We only have the Petit Corona here. But if they released a Corona, you know, a 5.5, that 5.5 by 45, or even if they brought it down to a 42, put £2 on it, call it £12, even £13, I would go buy that, because I know I'm going to get that great Fuente flavour, the long filler flavour of a Fuente Gran Reserva. I love the 858. I think the 858 is a really good cigar. I think you're getting a 6 by 47. It's a nice chunky ring gauge, a nice length, and a good hour and 20 minute smoke out of it for me. Potentially even longer. It feels nice in the hand. It has a nice band. The wrapper's always beautiful on it. It smokes beautifully. You never have a problem. It's a beautiful cigar. I had one on my birthday last year. It was a beautiful smoke. This, you know, I'm actually getting a little bit more flavour. Almost like a citrusiness. But even that little extra flavour, I'm still only sitting on 2 real flavours there without a retrohale, which is sweet cedar and a little tiny bit of kind of citrusiness in there. The spice comes on a retrohale, and creaminess is the texture of the cigar. The cigar isn't bad. It's actually nice. It's a nice cigar, and the flavour's good. But the price for what you're getting is disappointing. It really is. Now, Davidoff, I've been disappointed by Davidoff for the same reason. And I think we have to call it out when we see it. I have a Davidoff cigar. If I have a Davidoff white label Signature 2000 or something, they're expensive cigars. You know, they're long filler, but they're expensive cigars. And I smoke them, and they're mild. They're nice cigars, but they're very expensive. And they don't justify the price tag. This is the same thing. It's a nice cigar. Different category. It's short filler. It's meant to be a budget option. But it doesn't justify the price tag. Now in America, it's a different story. In America, it's a different story. The American, $3 for this cigar is fine. You buy them in boxes of 50, you probably get a little bit of a discount on that. They're good to sit in a humidor. People come round. People smoke cigars more in America. You can hand them out. Not too big for people. You know, it's got a band. It looks okay. It smokes good. It's nice in the morning. For $3. But that's because you can also go and pick up a decent Fuente Reserva at $8, $9. You know. And the Americans will, you know, their market is much bigger than ours. But for us in the UK, where we have a smaller market and we have Cubans available and the prices are as high as they are, the justification for the Fuente like this, the justification for it isn't there. Again, that's not to say this is a bad cigar, because it's not. I think you get good flavour, especially if you're retrohaling. It burns well, it's nice. you know. But value-wise, it's not there. And maybe if I had infinite money, I wouldn't care about value. I'd buy the cigar, smoke it, say it's nice, give it a review based just off flavour. But I want people to know about the value of things because money's tight. Money's tight, and we go and we buy our cigars and we want to have good value from it. We want to have good value from our cigars, and the prices of tobacco keep going up and up and up and up in the UK. Every year, tobacco prices go up. I'm almost certain, if I looked at the price of these back in 2019, when I started smoking, so 6 years ago now, they would have probably been about £6. And at that price, you're much more liable to go, that's good value. Because even back then, something like a Cuervo Maduro Robusto is also sitting around that price. I can tell you to some degree about prices back in 2021, I believe. I can, if I go to my account on here, I look at my orders from the past. And my earliest order, I believe, comes from 2021. Yeah, and I can tell you now, like, this is not a good order to look at, to be fair. Let's have a look at this one with 16 products on it. So, stuff like the Brickhouse Double Connecticut Corona Lager costs £9.50. Now the Brickhouse Corona Lager, bloody hell. I can't type. The Brickhouse Corona Lager. Now, looking at it, that's a £13.50 cigar. It's a £4 increase in 4 years. It's £1 a year on the cigar. Stuff like the Trinidad Reyes was £11.50 cigar. That's Cuban price rises. Quorum Shade Robusto, £7 a cigar back then. So I can tell you, this cigar would have been about the same. The Conquistador Petit Corona was £6.15 back then. I think that cigar is still about £8. It's about £8 now. So, like, this cigar would have probably been about £6, £6-7 back then in 2021. And back then, the value proposition's a bit better, a little bit better, because our wages, the cost of living's lower. The cost of living's gone up. The cost of living's higher, and the tobacco prices keep going up. And it's not the retailers' fault in most circumstances. It's the government and it's the anti-tobacco lobby. It's the people who talk about health. They target cigarettes and rolling tobacco, but they don't separate cigars and pipe tobacco, and they get lumped in, and then you end up paying extra money. You end up paying extra money for cigars, even though the amount of people who use them is a lot smaller. The use case of cigars is a lot different. The way cigars are taken by people, the way they're smoked. I smoke on average about 4 to 5 cigars a week. That doesn't include stuff like miniatures. That doesn't include things like these. I smoke more. If you include miniatures, and I think you should, to be fair, if you include mini cigars and cigarillos in the overall smoking I do in a week, I'll probably smoke closer to around 15. I probably go through a tin or so of these a week. And even if these were regulated, I would still be a bit annoyed because I don't believe it's the government's right to intervene in what people should be doing. Broadly, I understand health, but the people don't buy these and smoke them like cigarettes. They just don't. And the people who do are old people, not this big explosion of young people who smoke. But I smoke probably about 5 premium cigars a week. I'll have one on a Tuesday, one on a Saturday, and then I have 2 to 3 on a Thursday. That tends to be how it goes. And I don't inhale. Of course I don't. I tend to smoke either on my own or I smoke with people at a lounge, generally, or a cigar smoking area, given we don't really have lounges in the UK due to legislation. So the problems of secondhand smoke are lower because I'm not smoking cigars out in public constantly. I do sometimes, but it's not a consistent thing like with cigarette smokers. You know, cigars are basically only sold at like tobacconists that children aren't allowed to go in. So there's no reason to regulate cigars in the same way cigarettes are. And again, their use case is totally different. A cigarette smoker will, on average, go through a packet of cigarettes a week. That's 20 cigarettes. It's likely they go through more. I know a lot of cigarette smokers who go through 2 to 3 packs of cigarettes in a week. That's 40 to 60 cigarettes. Some people even more. And they do 5 cigarettes a day, 6 cigarettes a day. They do a cigarette and they do another one straight after it. They smoke constantly. And that's harmful. And they're inhaling it, they're taking it to their lungs. There's loads of added stuff into cigarettes that cause problems. And I'm actually someone who believes cigarettes need regulating. Because cigarettes and what cigarettes do to you, and the whole existence of cigarettes, which came after pipe and cigars. Cigarettes were made to have people be addicted to them. The only reason they were made was to get people addicted to tobacco to sell them. And throughout history, they have changed cigarettes. Companies have gone in and made cigarettes more addictive. They've added certain compounds that make the nicotine attach in different ways and such. And so the whole point of cigarettes is so you get addicted and you buy more cigarettes. Cigars, as I'm sure you'll know if you watch any of my videos, if you follow any cigar content, you know the whole point of a cigar is to sit back, have a cigar, look at it, feel it, cut it, light it, smoke it slowly over a period of time. In this case, 45 minutes to an hour. You know, in other cases, even longer. To take that time out of the day to have an overall experience with a cigar, to be relaxed, to take some time out of the day, to set it aside and to say, this is what I'm doing. When I smoke a cigar, I'm either with really good company and we're enjoying the cigars and telling each other how they are and how they taste. And as I'm sure you'll know by following cigar content, the type of flavours and the type of aromas we get from the cigar. Or I'm sat on my own at the end of a night, enjoying a cigar on my own. Maybe I'm watching, and I'll make a review a lot of the time. But between the review, between talking to you guys, I'll watch something. And I'll just sit and smoke and relax. Decompress from the day. Let my stresses go away. I don't pick them out my humidor and smoke it like I need to. Like I'm a train going through cigar after cigar after cigar. Even when I smoke a miniature, such as one of these, or a slightly larger cigarillo, I do so because I want that same experience, but just quicker. And I want to, a lot of the time I smoke these at work, I go out to the back, I make myself a cup of coffee. I won't just go out and have a smoke, I'll make myself a cup of coffee, I'll stand at the back door, I'll light up a miniature cigar, and I'll let the stresses of work or of customers or whatever I'm dealing with go away for 5 minutes while I enjoy good quality tobacco, while I enjoy the flavour of that tobacco. But yeah, the government wants to consistently regulate this tobacco the same as they do cigarettes. I will never understand it. It's either ignorance or it's malicious, right? And they don't care. And for somebody who is really passionate about cigars, somebody who really cares about the industry, and somebody who wants to work in the industry, and somebody who truly loves the craftsmanship of cigars, the art form that is cigar making, blenders. It annoys me, it really does, and I'm sure you can tell by the fact I've been ranting to the camera for 10-15 minutes. What was supposed to be a review. And I think I'm ranting mostly because I've just sat there and said this cigar's disappointing, when actually the cigar itself is perfectly fine. The flavour is perfectly fine. The construction's brilliant. We're at the end of the cigar now. We're at the final third of the cigar. And you know what? There's really nice wood. The spice is now there. There's a little bit of citrus. There's even a slight nuttiness that's come up. The creaminess is still there. And the way the cigar's developed for a short filler has actually been really good. But I've sat here and gone, well, I'm disappointed in it. It's not lasting as long as I want. 45 minutes for a Corona's pretty good. And also, the price isn't their fault. It might not be the best value in the world, but it's still a really good cigar. I think maybe other cigars punch above their price tag, like the Core Maduro or any of the own brand cigars, the GQ Tobacco own brands that I enjoy, or even the Smoke King own brands that I enjoy, or the cigars, the Michelero Perus, which again are under this price, a lot of them, and punch up in terms of their flavour. They are long filler, where this is short fillable. For budget options. And it annoys me that I've just gone in and I've attacked this cigar, I've attacked Fuente, for prices that aren't their fault. Because they didn't send this to the UK and say, put the price up. Fuente, as much as they are a big company in the cigar world, they're still, I'm pretty sure they're smaller than Brickhouse. And they're the amount of cigars Quorum and stuff put out. And the small companies like the GQ, the own brands, they're made in a specific way that they can be cheaper. These are being made out of the Fuente factory and stuff. So, yeah, it annoys me. It annoys me. I'm not afraid to sit here and say it annoys me. The way the government treats cigar smokers, smokers in general, but as somebody who doesn't like cigarettes, if cigarettes, we talk in the UK a lot about they've introduced a smoking ban, generational ban, so people born after 2006, I believe, or 2008, something like that, 2007, they can't buy tobacco products anymore. I think this is fine for cigarettes, to be honest, because as I've stated, cigarettes are made to be addictive. Then they don't give you any benefits. There's nothing, and they're used in a way that is very addictive. Cigars and pipe tobacco isn't. They existed before cigarettes. They existed with cigarettes, and in my opinion, they should exist post cigarettes. Because cigarette smokers aren't suddenly going to go to start smoking cigars. They wouldn't be able to handle it. Number one. Cigars being stronger than cigarettes, they're unfiltered. They wouldn't be able to smoke them because they wouldn't. If they started inhaling them, they would die. There's no two ways about it. But the ban encompasses all tobacco, including cigars, which means we've got this whole generation of young people growing up, potentially only a year before they're able to smoke, not being able to go and enjoy a fine cigar. And even if they don't, I've got a brother. I'm going on another tangent. I don't care. I'm annoyed. I'm going on another tangent. I've got a brother. He's 19, right? He's able to buy tobacco, fine, right? He was born before the ban would be implemented, before the cap on when the ban's implemented. So he's allowed to smoke it. He doesn't smoke cigars. He doesn't, not like I do. But what I do is when we go out, whether we go to the pub or if I take him out somewhere, if I take him to town, and we have a couple of drinks, we'll go sit outside, I'll buy him a cigar. And he will enjoy it. He enjoys a cigar now and again. Because it's very different to smoke. He doesn't smoke cigarettes either. He'll enjoy a cigar. Now, somebody born in 2008 can't have that experience. Can't have the experience of going out to a pub with their older brother, having a drink and enjoying a nice cigar to mark a moment, or just to mark an event or a moment, or just to have a bit of an experience. And why is it the government's place to come in and say you can't do that with cigars? They cite health concerns, but the health concerns of cigar smokers are the concerns of cigar smokers, not the concerns of the government. And the health issues are much lower for cigar smokers than they are for cigarette smokers. You know, I'm overweight, happy to say it. There's more problems there, and they should be regulating probably the drink and food industry more, and the fast food industry a lot more, than they should be doing the cigar industry. Because to be quite honest, I'm more likely to die of high cholesterol than I am to die of cigar smoking. Or if I open my fridge, I've got some beer in it. I've got a nice IPA. I'm probably going to have that after I've had my iron brew. That stuff, this alcohol, kills people far, far more than cigars ever will, ever do, and ever will. Tobacco as a whole, of course, it needs regulated. There needs to be regulation of what you can put into tobacco. Cigarette companies don't care about the consumer. They just want you to buy cigarettes and die, right? You know, even when cigarettes get banned eventually, in whatever eventuality that is, they'll transition into vapes that we don't really know the full science on, or they'll move into something else to keep people hooked on nicotine. Many other cigar smokers will tell you, we don't smoke for nicotine. No, maybe if we have 3 or 4 cigars in a night, like I sometimes do, I'll get a nicotine buzz from it. I go, as I said, days. I don't smoke these every single week. Some weeks I'll have them, some weeks I won't. I don't require the tobacco. I don't require it to survive in the same way a cigarette smoker does. I don't need the smoke. I don't need the nicotine. I smoke for relaxation, for the experience, and for the hobby aspect of cigar smoking. This cigar's been excellent, to be honest. This cigar's been excellent. And maybe on a value scale it's slightly lower, but I'm still going to give the cigar a 7 out of 10. It's as good as the Cuban cigar I had the other day. At this point in the cigar, normally you'd expect some bitter flavour, none of that. And while the flavour's been more mild and worse at the start than the Cuban cigar I had on Saturday, this is a beautiful cigar. From the second, third onwards, it's really nice. I know I've been ranting on this video, and I've tried not to do that for my videos. There is a video way back on the channel, I think 2022, of me reviewing a Partagas Mini, or a Cohiba Mini, some sort of Mini, and a ranting. Having a big old rant. That video's got a lot of views. I think it's got like 1,000 views or something on it. This video probably won't have that many because it's about a New World cigar. New World cigar videos just don't do as well. But I'm going to post this video, this 30 minutes and longer, because I'm going to keep going, segment of me ranting about the industry. It's going to stay. It's going to stay. I'm going to post this whole thing. There'll be the first segment and there'll be the second segment. As a quick aside, the cigar is going to last me an hour. I thought I'd have to put it down because the flavour would get bad, but I'm not going to have to. Definitely going to last me 8 more minutes because it's 10:37 at the moment. It'll definitely last another 8 minutes. It's been a lovely smoke. Honestly, really nice. What do I think should happen in the UK in terms of tobacco legislation? Again, I'm not even against the generational ban for cigarettes. And, I don't think it's the government's place to come in and regulate what people do with their own bodies. I don't. I think, people are allowed to do what they want. If people want to smoke, they can smoke. The thing is with cigarettes is that cigarettes are insidious in the way that, as I said earlier, the companies exist and have always only existed to have you get addicted and buy cigarettes. They're not a product that you don't smoke cigarettes and go, there are very few people who would consider smoking cigarettes a hobby. And even people who do are addicted to cigarettes. And being addicted to cigarettes is not good. And cigarettes and the cancer and the health conditions you get from cigarette smoking are bad. And the secondhand smoke is bad. Yes, there are health problems with cigars. But for me, having looked at numerous studies, yes, there is an increased mortality rate for smoking cigars, which I think every cigar smoker knows. And you are more at risk of getting certain types of cancers, mouth cancer. It's a big one. But there's not been as much research into the health concerns of cigars as there has been cigarettes. And the way people smoke cigars, as I previously stated, is very different. And cigars aren't made to get you hooked and addicted. Cigars are made by companies, by family-owned companies a lot of the time, who grow the tobacco, who see it as a craft and an art to blend tobacco, to age, to ferment the tobacco, to cure, ferment, age the tobacco. You should go, there's a couple of documentaries on YouTube you can see for free. There's See to Smoke, it's a Davidoff one, that's a really good documentary, and there's also a couple called Hand Rolled, I believe, which one's about the brick house. There's one that's about multiple New World factories, and one's specifically for brick house. They are great documentaries, really good documentaries that talk about the tobacco industry, talk about the cigar industry, talk about the way the cigar industry operates, how it's an art, how it's a craft, how these are family-owned businesses who really care and are passionate about what they're doing. Cigarette companies are not like that. They're huge conglomerates that exploit child labour in Indonesia and in South America, who break labour laws, who in the few remaining countries without tobacco regulation exploit that as much as they can. In Indonesia and such. They're two completely different industries and they should not be regulated the same. If you want to ban cigarette smoking for future generations, do it, I say. I think it'd be very positive. For future health, it'd be amazing, But for cigars, for pipe tobacco, for the premium tobacco smoker who smokes differently, who doesn't smoke in the same way, whose companies don't act in the same way as cigarette companies, regulate them differently, treat them differently, because it's a different product with a different ethos behind it. It amazes me we're not allowed indoor smoking lounges for cigars in the UK. That's silly. Right? If a business wants to set up and has, make sure they have ventilation and stuff. Make sure that staff who work there understand the risks. But why is it not allowed? The UK, for a long time, as a country, the UK generally, compared to a lot of other countries, is actually quite authoritarian in the way. I don't want to get too political, but it is quite authoritarian, the UK, in the way it deals with vices and what people do. The governments like telling us what we're doing. You're allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. You pay all this tax and all of this, and we still control what you do. It's not like that in Europe. It's not like that in America. America has its own big set of issues, but it's the general ethos around. And the perception is not authoritarian in the way it is in the UK. I'm going to start ranting here. This video is going to be almost an hour long. And I'm going to post that. I'm going to post the whole video. It probably won't do very well. Probably won't. If you do watch the video and you get this far, get to the end, thank you. Thanks for listening to me rant. I've not actually spoke about the UK tobacco industry to anyone really in a long time. I've kind of been bottling up a bit of anger I have about the whole subject. As for the cigar though, now that we're at the end, it's lasted me an hour. You know what? My original disappointment was gone by the end. I think I would probably buy it again. I'd definitely, if I saw it overseas for the cheap prices you can get them overseas, I'd buy some. I think if you're in America, buy a box like now, because $150 and you get 50 cigars. Might as well. They're a nice smoke. They're a mild smoke. It picks up a little bit in like the later second third to the third. Wonderful little smoke. Hour-long smoke. I mean, I was talking, so probably if I was just smoking, maybe a 45-minute smoke, but still. Excellent cigar. Again, 7 out of 10. Great flavour. With that, I will see you later. I hope if you did listen to the rant, you can maybe take something from it. And if that's just showing, me being able to show you how much passion I have for this hobby, let it be that. But with that, I hope everyone has a good Friday. This is coming out on Thursday. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. There'll be a video up on the weekend as normal. What on? Not sure yet. But there will be one. And as always, stay smoky, folks. I'll see you later.